You don't have to be that 10%, right? I mean, you can fight against that,
That's
and
right.
you can change your ways. We can change. We do have the power to change, the ability to change.
And it's you and me, babe, whatever comes. Knowing bigger hands are holding ours, and the greatest days are ahead of us. Growing in love, learning to be a better us.
Hi, welcome to A Better Us.
It's great to have you here in our home for the next 30 minutes.
Oh, just a second. I have to take this.
Actually, today we're talking about technology and how it's robbing us of quality time together, of emotional intimacy. Ron, are you listening?
Oh, okay, I'm back.
He's back.
Actually, we'll be on the beach twice with Dr. Mike in this program. First of all, talking about how important our thoughts are toward our spouse. And then he'll also be challenging us about these little guys.
He says that our marriages are suffering in direct proportion to how obsessed we are with technology.
So maybe I should put this away for the rest of the program.
I think that's a great idea.
And we're going to talk about that and more around our kitchen island with our kitchen couples. CFL football great Mike Pinball Clemens, who is with his wife Diane.
Absolutely. And newlyweds, youth and children's pastors Eric and Kara Maines. So how about you put down the phone, pick up a coffee. This is going to be good.
We're going to do a little quiz to check the status of your marriage. Are you ready? I want you to think back to your early days of dating. Back to those moments when you first met and you were having fun, hanging out with each other, when you fell in love, when you were newlyweds. Remember that? I want you to think back and say, okay, what was that time like? You might even want to get a pencil and a piece of paper. Write that down at some point. What do I remember about those times? Did you guys have fun together often? Was your husband romantic and affectionate, or did he struggle to really know how to pursue you with passion? Was your wife, was she a smart woman? Someone that you really valued her intellect, or was she doing crazy things that made you feel unhealthy and chaotic? See, the way you kind of start to frame those early days is incredibly important. Researchers have looked at this, and what they found is that the way you look at your early life, to a degree of 90%, will determine the success of your marriage. Now, is that an unbelievable statistic or what? The way you think about your early marriage will determine to the degree of 90% how successful your marriage is or isn't. That demonstrates just how powerful your thought life is in regard to your husband or your wife. How do you frame your spouse's behavior and intentions about you and for you? Because that's either going to create a positive, lasting emotional connection between you guys, or it's going to plant seeds of doubt and just discontent about your relationship. Every once in a while, I see the power of this play out right before me in the clinical office. I'll have a couple come in and I'll ask them, hey, tell me about those early days. Tell me about when you first met. And then I just sit back and I listen, because I know what I hear next is going to determine the course of this counseling experience for them. How they respond tells me a lot about what's going on in their relationship. Many times when I'm working with a marriage that's in trouble, that's in distress, it'll go something like this. One person will describe an early experience in the relationship that is full of positive memories and positive sentiment. Man, they really, really have positive things in their mind about what happened. Then the other spouse will start talking. And man, I buckle my seatbelt, because they can talk about the same experience, but they have all these negative memories that they assign to the same thing that went on. There's blame, there's criticism. And so I know in those moments, okay, wait, we've got a problem in this marriage. And one of the problems that we've got is that one or both of these spouses has very negative thoughts about the other person. So let's go back to that quiz that you took. I asked you to think about your marriage, the early days. What do you remember? If you're sitting there and you are telling yourself, man, I did have some negative things that came up about the early days, there's something you can do. It's not hopeless. It's not a 90% chance that you're going to get divorced. Let me tell you what you can do. Number one, recognize that your trouble remembering positive things, even early in the relationship, is likely a sign that you have this negative mindset about your spouse and that that's real. It's a reality in your heart and in your mind. And the goal here is not to beat yourself up. Don't tell yourself, man, I'm messed up because I think this about my spouse. You just have to commit to working on the relationship, and specifically you need to commit on developing positive thoughts, positive sentiment about your thoughts, about your spouse. Number 2, focus on monitoring your negative thoughts about your spouse right in the moment of those expectations not being met. Now, this is pivotal because it's very easy to feel comfortable in a relationship and comfortable with your spouse when your experience matches your expectation. That's super easy. The issue is when your experience does not match your expectation, when you're disappointed, when you can't believe this has happened. That's the moment that this negative mindset is going to come in, and really the enemy is going to attack you in the battleground of your mind. And before you know it, those negative thoughts will start to just play out. And when those expectations aren't met, that running dialogue in your head will be very real, and it will be very, very visceral almost. Number 3, monitor those thoughts. When you're disappointed, right in the moment of those stress, monitor those thoughts. You might even want to get a pencil and a piece of paper and write those negative thoughts down. Now, people, when I tell them to do this in the clinical office, they get very upset. Why would I want to sit there and perseverate and get stuck on all these negative thoughts? I'm trying to get away from that. Trust me on this. If you will be intentional about your thoughts in the moment, even to the point of writing them down, you will now have leverage over them, right? When they're unconscious and you're not really aware of what you're thinking, those thoughts have tremendous power over you. When you write them down, you articulate them, now guess what? You can control them. You know what's happening inside your head. Number 4, actively confront those negative thoughts in the moment of that disappointment. Research shows that when we assume the worst about our spouse and their intentions, that creates all these negative emotions. But research also shows that when you believe the best about your spouse, that's the moment that we begin to feel fulfilled, happy, hopeful, even in the moments of stress, even in the times of distress. So have a conversation with yourself in your own head, right? Begin to confront those negative thoughts. Don't assume the worst. Catch yourself in that. Discipline yourself. Tell yourself, believe the best. I'm going to believe the best about this person that I love and that God has given me. And number 5, remember, and I always want you to remember this, never be afraid to ask for help. If you find that you're stuck in a negativity that you just can't get out of, talk to a pastor. Talk to a trusted counselor. Don't journey alone. Find someone that you can bounce these ideas off of. And in the end, what you'll find is you have a peace in your marriage that you've never known.
And we are back in the kitchen with our kitchen couples. Okay, guys, we got Mike and Diane and Eric and Kara. There was a lot of good stuff in that teaching from Dr. Mike on the beach. A lot of stuff to absorb, really, on our thought life.
And I found that interesting statistic he gave at the beginning, that research, and I wrote it down to make sure I got it right, research shows that the way you recount your early years of being together is either positive or negative memories, can predict whether your marriage will succeed or fail with 90% accuracy. That's even hard to believe.
So I guess he's just saying the pattern that you establish early on in how you think about your spouse is gonna, what was that saying we had the other day, that your life is moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts? Remember that?
Yes.
Like, that's so true.
Yes.
That's so true. Yeah.
So, when we look at this, my very first thoughts were when I was dating Diane. I would sit for hours and just rub her hands.
About the same thing.
Yes, I just right out front of her house, and we just sit, and I love her hands. And she was, I say she was the first lady that I met. Like I was 19, she was 18, right? So at 19 years old, she was the first lady that I had ever met, right? And sat and rubbed. And as he was saying it and thinking through. There was something in me that wanted to compete, right, and say, if that wasn't the case for you, right, you know, that you don't have to be that 10%, right? I mean, you can fight against that, and you can change your ways. We can change. We do have the power to change, the ability to change, and so I just really want to just encourage people, if that wasn't your situation. I mean, it's nice to have that. Oh yeah, that was beautiful, but if it wasn't beautiful, it can be beautiful, and even more beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that.
Now, you guys are still early in your relationship, married 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And so what are some of the thoughts you had as you listened to Dr. Mike there on the beach?
Well, thinking from our early days, which wasn't too long ago, I guess, I remember the little things that we would do. Like, I would kind of write her notes, and I would leave it on the girls' dorm door, because we went to Bible college together. So I'd leave it on the girls' dorm door, but like taped up. But after I would leave, I would walk away, but I would kind of like sneak back and look, and all the girls are trying to like tear it open and to kind of see what I wrote.
Is it for me?
No, it clearly says it's for Kara.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and it was awesome to have those words of affirmation, because I find so often the enemy finds out where you're weak, and a lot of the times it's in your thought life, and he knows where to target you, and to have those words to just remind yourself, you know what, no, he is good, and he does love me, and we are going to have a great future regardless of what comes in our path. It was great to have those words, and Eric even has a little note that I wrote him in Bible college saved in his wallet, and it's just good to help our thought life, to remind ourselves of those times and to read those notes. And sometimes we have to tell ourselves, like we physically have to speak so that it gets into our hearts, and remind ourselves, you know what, enemy, you might have a plan in my thought life, but I know what's true, and I know what's good, and I know what God has for us, and we're going to stand firm on that and trust that.
And I find it a lot easier to kind of walk life with Kara, because I know her motivation behind her actions. I know her intentions are because she loves me. The motivation, it just kind of brings out, like sometimes it brings out some areas where I don't kind of like what I'm seeing because we're in a fight or an argument, but I can always think back to that motivation and the intent, the first intention, and I know that she's coming from a good spot. I know her heart.
And your thought life, I love that. And even, you know, the Bible talks about that. Take every thought captive. So if you start to have these bad memories or these bad feelings, say, no, that's not reality. That's just my imagination kind of going off in some direction. Reality is, like what you were saying, Eric, he's got my back. She's got my back, and we're in this together, and we're committed to each other. And we're going to make those good memories moving forward.
Dr. Mike called that a battleground. Our minds are a battleground. And the Apostle Paul wrote in Philippians about, you know, whatever things are good and pure and right and holy and just, you know, think about those things. So don't think the negative things about someone. And so you already know, Kara, kind of, you know, the motivation behind, you know, so you know, okay, maybe she said this, but I know she doesn't really mean that. But others might have the same situation, but they're thinking the worst of their spouse, and that's really devastating.
And that's another one of those times where we want to compete. It's time to really go. I interrupted you, but you go on. But it's one of those times that you want to compete. You want to really go and challenge yourself, because those the same Apostle Paul that said focus on what is lovely, whatever is good report. The same Paul, right, says what I will to do, those things I do not. And those that I will not to do, those things I do. Why am I so conflicted, right? And so there was a book called The Complaint-Free World that kind of took this in an interesting way, and it was a process. They had 4 steps they talked about, from unconscious incompetence, not going around doing and complaining and not realizing it, and moving over. But if we can talk about that process, that's the same process I think Mike is trying to take us through on the beach, to kind of say there is a process by which, whatever process you find your process, Mike gives a great one to go through, battle, fight, be a champion in this area.
Exactly. Yeah, keep moving in the right direction. Keep moving in the right direction. I like that.
Okay, well, we have more to come in this program with the Kitchen Couples, and so hang in here, guys, and we'll be back.
Stay with us.
You want to know one of the most dangerous threats to your marriage? Your cell phone. But the truth is, our technology is killing our relationships, and it's messing up our marriages. That part is clear.
Hey friends, Ron and Ann here. We're so glad you're with us at A Better Us, and we pray your marriage is blessed as you take this in.
Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and enjoy this video.
You want to know one of the most dangerous threats to your marriage? Your cell phone. What? I know what you're thinking. Impossible, right? Let me explain. They've done a study. They took college students, gave them all the same test with one variable that was different for 3 different groups. One group took the test with their cell phone in another room. The other group took the test with the cell phone in their pocket or in their backpack. The other group took the test with the cell phone right on their desk. Guess what the results were? They went to the students, they asked them, how do you think you did on the test? Across the board, every student was like, yeah, we think it was fine, we did good. They were excited about their performance. But when they went to score the test, the people that took the test with the cell phone on their desk did not score near as well as the people that took the test with the cell phone in their pocket or in their backpack. The people that took the test with the cell phone in their backpack or their pocket didn't do near as well as the people that took the test with the cell phone in another room. So what does this mean? This means that our cell phones are making us less intelligent. Is that even possible? I mean, that might be an overstatement, but the truth is our technology is killing our relationships and it's messing up our marriages. That part is clear. I've been at restaurants, as you have been so many times, and I watch couples interact, and there they are with an awesome opportunity to just have some fun and relax and get to know what's going on with the other person. And what are they doing? Flipping through that Facebook, Google searching whatever they need to Google search in that moment, just obsessed with these little boxes with all the information. I've seen kids with their families sitting around the dinner table, and are they talking? Are they interacting? Are they laughing? Are they telling jokes? Are they talking about the day? No, they're obsessed with these little things they hold in their hand, these screens that mesmerize them and light their brain up just like cocaine does and heroin and alcohol. So while I'm not sure about the cell phones and how smart we are, I am sure that our cell phones and our technology are robbing us of quality time together. And the more they rob us of that time together, the more they rob us of emotional intimacy. Your marriage is suffering in direct proportion to the amount of time that you become obsessed with technology. So, what's the solution? I've got one for you. You ready? Take a technology fast. Do it. I dare you. Get together with your spouse, determine in your hearts that you're going to take a month and you're just not going to look at this stuff. You're going to turn Facebook off. You're not going to do Netflix. You're not going to kind of become obsessed with whatever Google has for you at that given moment, and allow yourselves to refocus on one another without all the clutter. See what happens. You never know. My guess is you're probably going to develop much deeper intimacy. And you know what? You might even end up a little smarter.
Okay, we are back with our kitchen couples, Mike and Diane, Eric and Kara. Some challenging words there from Dr. Mike on the beach.
I think I heard somebody say ouch a few times. I don't know. Yeah, because you can't see it, but everyone has their cell phones within arm's reach right now as we're sitting here in the kitchen.
Well, he said your marriage is suffering in direct proportion to the amount of time that you become obsessed with technology. And so that is a huge challenge right there.
You don't really think about it in that context, do
you? Mike and I did a show on cell phones on our radio show. And in doing research for that, I found out that the average person is on their cell phone over 2,400 times a day. But get this, the top 10%, over 5,400 touches in a day, not a week, not a month,
Wow.
in a day.
Touches.
Wow.
So you're doing this,
Yes.
you're swiping.
In a day. And I was blown away. I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember at one point I got upset with Mike because he would come in doing business and he was on his phone, whether it's talking or whatever. And I'd be like, don't come in the house on your cell phone. When you come in the house, we want your undivided attention, right? And because we get so consumed, and myself, all of us, we're so consumed. But I think there's a really cool poem that Mike has kind of learned, and it's about cell phones. And if you could maybe share just a little bit of that.
Well, the gentleman who wrote this is named Prince E.A., and he does it a lot more eloquently than I can do it. But
really
it
cool.
goes a little like this. It says, the average adult today looks down at his cell phone for 4 years of his life. Kind of ironic, ain't it, how these touch screens have made us lose touch? But it's no wonder in the world with so many iMacs and iPads and iPhones, so many eyes, so many selfies, not enough us's and we's. You see, technology has made us more selfish and separate than ever before. And while it claims to connect us, connection has gotten no better. And excuse me, Mr. Zuckerberg, not to be rude, but would you reclassify Facebook to what it really is? An anti-social network? Because while we may have big friend lists, so many of us are friendless all alone because relationships are more broken than the screens on our very phones. We sit at home at the computer measuring self-worth by the number of followers and likes, ignoring those who actually love us. It seems we'd rather write an angry post than talk to someone who might actually hug us.
Wow. Hey, that's good.
It
goes on and on.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of ouches in that.
is the guy.
Yes. Hear that,
Okay.
Prince E.A. He's a brilliant young man.
And you'll get
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was
And the interesting thing is that it's only been a recent phenomenon, really maybe 10 years or so since these touchscreen handheld
devices.
phones and
So that's something we didn't have to
Yeah.
deal with early in our marriage,
No.
but you guys, that's part of your
That's
lives.
all we've known in our relationship. So
We've tried to make it because we find ourselves when we get ready for bed and we're in bed that we pull out our phones and that's what you do. You just scroll through. So we've tried to make our room kind of just the two of us. Unplugged.
the thing is, the key word we've tried, but a lot of the times it just
So
it calls
easy
us
to
back.
back,
And it's like, oh, there was something early in the day that I wanted to Google or I wanted to check on YouTube in this. So let's do this right now instead of instead of the pillow talk, instead of just kind of unloading our day with each other. We're kind of
You're trying.
we're trying.
So as
yeah.
long as you're trying, that's absolutely, that's all you need.
Because
Yeah.
when you're
Keep
on your
trying,
phone or you're on your screen, you're not present with each other.
you're completely
and there is
zoned.
There is
Yeah.
nobody on the planet more important than this guy, than that guy,
I agree.
than this guy,
I
you know?
agree.
And so we've got to just keep reprioritizing, making sure we shift back up. You know, God gave us this spouse, and so we've got to pour into this more than we pour into
That's
that.
right.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Real start is actually being honest with where you are, right?
Exactly.
I'm good on the weekend. Right, I'm good at putting
Yeah,
my
he'll
phone down
shut it
and on
down,
the weekend, and my challenge is I don't know where it is on Monday morning. I
think maybe one of your girls did it.
Yes. No, they won't hide it because we have to keep them off it on the weekend. That's the real challenge with the girl. But I need to do better during the week, right? And so kind of understanding where you are and being honest, because the only way to really improve is just to kind of have a little bit of understanding. So
Exactly.
take a note. Understand where you are, what your strengths and
And
weaknesses
he
are.
mentioned Netflix. It is so easy to get sucked in, to binge watching Netflix. And hours go by, and you don't even know who's in the room with you because the storyline just keeps evolving, and you don't want to stop. We are too. But I like the challenge. You know
Yeah.
what? Don't just spend the evening together.
Yeah, or he had the big challenge there about doing a fast
Yeah.
of it, like maybe for a month. Okay, now that might be a little hard.
That's a commitment right there, you
Yeah.
guys. Like, I don't know.
But the effect on the intimacy and the oneness in marriage could be phenomenal,
Lasting
actually.
effect.
So
I think you'd be happy you did.
great discussion. Thanks, guys. And so stay with us. More A Better Us to come. Hi, Hi, we hope you're enjoying the show.
You know, our vision at A Better Us is to see every marriage become a loving union that creates a safe family haven, building a legacy of hope for future generations.
That's why we feel it's so important to invest in marriage relationships through producing a new episode of A Better Us every week.
Absolutely. If you feel as we do that marriages are worth investing in, then please consider joining us as a member of A Better Us with a monthly donation of $25.
You'll be making a big difference in lives and families, and we'll send you 2 of our special mugs, the mugs that you see our kitchen couples using each program.
Absolutely. And be sure to send us your mugshot selfie, and we'll post it on our Facebook page and on our website.
Simply visit abetterus.tv and click donate to set up your automatic monthly giving. God bless you, and thank you so much for making this program possible and helping us strengthen marriages.
So we can all become a better us.
You know, one of the most neglected ingredients in a marriage, a happy marriage, is gratitude. That capacity just to express appreciation. Sometimes it's in short supply.
Yeah, and we forget to savor and relish the little daily blessings we have in each other, in this relationship together. But when we take the time to stop and notice and we say it to them, not only are we more happy, but they're so deeply moved.
Well, know this, it's the fastest path to increase joy and happiness. If you want to instantly, I'm talking about right now, this very moment, increase your happiness factor, all you have to do is make a list of the things you're grateful for in your spouse.
Right.
You make a list, just jot down 3, 4, 6 things, and I guarantee you your joy factor immediately goes up.
Well, this isn't just some biblical principle, it's also totally backed up by science. Researchers have shown that the fastest path to happiness is deep and personal gratitude.
Today we've talked a lot about what we don't often talk about, our thoughts about us and our obsession with this.
But we need to talk about these things because they have a huge impact when we're trying hard to make a better us.
As we heard earlier, our minds are a battleground, and our thoughts toward our spouse, positive or negative, are a big part of the fight for our marriage.
That's right.
Establishing good thought patterns keeps us moving in the right direction, and it can be done, especially with God's help.
And regarding technology, I like what Dr. Mike said about our marriage suffering in direct proportion to our obsession with technology. Phones, computers, Netflix, any screen that steals our attention in a big way from our spouse should be limited.
And I think we all agree with that, and quite often we try to change on our own determination and willpower, but we just can't do it.
No, we can't.
We need to tap into a source that's greater than us. We need God.
If you're sitting there nodding your head saying, yeah, I get that, would you let us pray for you? The number on your screen connects you to our prayer line, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We'd love to share that source of wisdom and patience and power that we all need in life, found in a relationship with Jesus.
Absolutely. We also have some great resources available through our website at betterus.tv, including a free weekly marriage moment email to give you encouragement for your relationship.
Thanks again for stopping by. And remember, with God, there is always hope to become a better us.
Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here with A Better Us on our YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage better.
You can see just a few options we think you might like here and here.
Enjoy! Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way soon.